Court. Like you can see, uh, you can you can see that here. You can see that here in the present case, Sushant 6 murder case, several FIRs were registered in various states, in Maharashtra, in Bihar, in UP, and the matter went to the Supreme Court that by the family members of Sushant Singh and others, that the FIR may be clubbed together and all matters be tried together. Now you may show the Baba Ramdev's case, you know that he has made certain derogatory comments against the medical community. FIRs are registered against him in various courts in India. Now the petition is filed in the Supreme Court of India for clubbing all the FIRs. That is called consolidation. So such provisions you will find under the CRPC section 406. Ashish or Gritan should just open section 406 CRPC. You'll come to know. 406 CRPC चेक करेंगे यहाँ पे. Make a note of it here. 406 is a CRPC. Now, similar provision you will find under the Constitution of India, that is Article 139A, where the Supreme Court has power to transfer cases pending before various courts and various high courts, and where the substantial question of law is involved, and transfer it. So, under the CRPC, normally Section 406 is involved. Then, after the Supreme Court, then you have the various high courts exercising jurisdiction in criminal matters. Now, take for example, under the scheme of the CRPC, normally high courts are also not the courts of original jurisdiction. But under the provisions of section 407, you can see 407 CRPC, the high court can try certain matters to try itself. Then there is a provision 407, that is then you can also check the provisions of section 96. Section 96 CRPC खोलिए. Section 96. Now, this is one provision under the CRPC where parties can directly move the court for a declaration that the forfeiture done by the state government, confiscating material, books or novels, which are punishable under the provisions of 124A, 153A, that is offenses, these offenses against the state, breach of peace, against religion. So the government of India, for example, you know that the Salman Rushdie wrote a very defamatory book on Prophet Muhammad, and the government of Maharashtra and India, in fact, confiscated the book for not sale in India. So the remedy provided for confiscation is under section 96. The parties can directly move the High Court for setting aside the forfeiture. But normally you are required to move under the provisions of section 191 CRPC. The magistrate court is the court of original jurisdiction and not the any other court. But these are the exception. I am coming in hierarchy wise after having dealt with Supreme Court and the power of the High Court, where entertains directly matters. So the procedure which the High Court follows in cases under the provisions of section 407, that is cases transferred to it from the various sessions court or a magistrate court, then 427. Please, Ashish, open section 427. Under the CRPC, the High Court is required to follow the procedure under section 427. Oh, 427 क्या कहता है देखिए. No, I'm sorry. 407. Yes. Then the High Court is following the procedure with regard to cases triable by the Court of Sessions. Session trial is dealt under the provisions of Section 225 to Section 232. That is the trial. Okay. That is the. Then the High Courts are also. Then High Courts are also trying very important powers. Having very important powers under the provision under the CRPC. They are called reference and revisional powers. That is, you will find Section 395 to Section 405. Power of the High Court to entertain a reference is 395. Any court of session or a magistrate may make a reference. Then under Section 401, the court of the High Court has revisional powers. 401. Then there are appellate powers of the High Court under the CRPCR, Section 374 to 377, 378 CRPC. So these are the, by and large, the various powers where the High Court tries matters. So generally, the High Court is also not a court of original jurisdiction. Basically, it is a court of appeal. Of course, writs will lie to the High Court, both under the provisions of Article 226 and 227 being judicial review powers. Then High Court also entertains in criminal matters criminal application under Section 482 CRPC. 482 means inherent powers where there is a gross abuse of the process of the court, inherent jurisdiction. If the complaint is malicious, if the complaint is totally false, if charges have been wrongly framed, one of the parties, wherever appeal doesn't lie, when there is no revision lies, can move the High Court under Section 482 is one of the powers here. Please note that here. Then you have the session court powers. Session court, when you see the CRPC scheme of Section 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the court of session is a court of original jurisdiction after committal. Committal means first the learned magistrate. You all have learned that under Article 222 of the Constitution of India, no sooner the accused is arrested, he is brought before the magistrate within 24 hours, isn't it? Then the procedures with regard to remand application, jail custody or bail custody is decided. Then investigation by the police officer. The police officer files a report under Section 173, police report, or a charge sheet it is called. When the charge sheet is filed, the magistrate, even if it is a murder case, trial case, because you come to know under the scheme of the CRPC, magistrate will decide whether the case is triable, is a session triable case, or a magisterial triable case, is a summon case, or is a warrant case triable by the magistrate. He will decide it. The moment it is a session triable case, he will have to commit the proceeding to the Sessions Court under Section 209 CRPC. Okay, you will come to know from the CRPC, once you have brought the Bail Act, how you come to know the various, when you see Schedule 1 of the CRPC, it gives you a tabulated form. See, after the provisions of Section 400 and after the provisions of Section 483 last May, you will find the first schedule in the CRPC. The classification of offences, you should know that. From there, you come to know the first schedule will tell you the offences falling within the ambit of IPC. Then second is what is the punishment. The case, for example, first section is 109. That is abatement of offence. Then it says abatement, same of the accused person. Whether it tells you the offence is cognizable or non-cognizable. That means in a cognizable offence, the police officer has the right to arrest without the warrant from the magistrate. I'll explain to you later on. Whereas in a non-cognizable case, the police officer has no right to investigate or not to arrest the accused person in the matter. Then the third column, it says bailable or non-bailable. So under the scheme of the Act, the offences classification is bailable offences, non-bailable offences. Now, in the cases of bailable offences, both the police officer as well as the magistrate under section 436 CRPC, they have right to grant bail. Please note that here. The bail bonds are covered under section 441. The bail bond and sureties. They may ask the accused person, you give a solvent surety or you give a personal bond. The police officer, if the offence is, for example, bailable offence, section, for example, abatement to, abatement offences 109, they are as per the provision. They take, for example, a simple hurt under section 430, 232, 231 IPC. They are all bailable offences. Bailable offences, you cannot transfer it here. The police officer has right to grant a bail in this matter here. Then the last column says here by what offence it is triable. See, the first schedule tells you classification here, court which the offence is triable. So the name of the court is mentioned here. So this classification of offences in the first schedule is very important for a law student and young lawyers to remember it. Then after the completion of the offences under the Indian Penal Code column, then you will find normally under the Indian Penal Code where the offences are punishable up to 3 years, they are regarded as a non-cognizable cases, and above 3 years they are cognizable cases. Then you will find classification के अंदर therefore there are state amendments which I will not go through that here. Various states have amended the schedule depending upon what the requirement is. And in cases offences not falling within the ambit of IPC, then they are also covered whether they are cognizable or non-cognizable, depending on it is punishable for 3 years or not. So that is how you determine where the what is the offence, what is the punishment, whether cognizable or non-cognizable, where bailable or non-bailable, and triable where it is before the court of session, triable before the court of judicial magistrate first class, judicial magistrate second class, or triable before the chief metropolitan magistrate. So there is also a magistrate called executive magistrate before whom he has no power to try offences under the IPC except certain offences like a breach of peace under the provisions of section 107, 113, 144, 145. I will come and take you through that. So the court of session also is a court of appeal from the orders of the magistrate, orders of the magistrate, and also it acts as it has a concurrent jurisdiction along with the High Court for the purposes of revision. Under section 397 CRPC, the Court of Session exercises revisional powers. देखिए आप the revisional powers. Then under the provisions of yes, then you see that here. When you open your CRPC, the powers of the courts are given here under the provisions of section 24 से लेकर I am giving you right now. Please open your BEAR Act. Yes. Section 26 onwards, when you see that here, what offences are triable by which court? Section 26. Now, section 26 lays down that here the High Court can try the cases, the Court of Sessions, or any other court, offences shown in the first schedule of the to be triable. So we have just seen the first schedule. Now, section 21 tell you what punishment can be given by the criminal courts. So the High Court can give any punishment to the accused person. You know that in India we have a death penalty too, isn't it, at the maximum? Death penalty can be given by the High Court, Supreme Court and High Court, as well as the Sessions Court, subject to confirmation by the High Court. A death sentence given by the magistrate, by the Sessions Court in a session tribunal case cannot be carried forward unless the High Court has given confirmation. That confirmation is given under the provision from section 366 to 371 CRPC. That is chapter 28 CRPC. Check करेंगे आप, मिल जाएगा आपको. Then the assistant session judge. So we have a assistant. This is the main session judge who can give death penalty, whereas the assistant session judge, he does not have the qualification. He cannot give punishment for more than 10 years. That is, see section 28 subclause 3 के अंदर है. So the maximum punishment in the city of Bombay, we have got session judges, additional session judges. Of course, you don't find it here. Mostly in taluka and district areas like Panvel, Alibag, you will have both the judges, assistant judges, where a district taluka area. So they try the offences. Though they are the session judges, they cannot give punishment more than 10 years. Whereas the session judge in the city of Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, where the metropolitan cities, they have a right to pass any sentence except the death sentence given by them is subject to confirmation by the High Court. Then you have the Court of Judicial Magistrate. See, section 29 deals with sentences which the magistrate may pass. So in the city of Bombay, we have 3 or 4 types of magistrates. Number one, because Bombay is a metropolitan area, so wherever there is a metropolitan area of more than 1 million, under section 8, we have the judicial magistrates are known as a metropolitan magistrate. The head of the magistrate is known as a chief judicial magistrate, where the office is Esplanade Court at Fountain at VT. At VT, you know that here. Then each area demarcated, we see that you have Balad Pier, Mazgon, Bandra, Andheri, Borivali, these all areas where the population is more than 1 crore, they said, they have the metropolitan magistrates. They are known as, in the city of Bombay, additional metropolitan magistrates. These additional, whereas in villages or district areas, you will find in Thana district, Pune district, Kalyan district, judicial magistrate were judicial magistrate first class and judicial magistrate second class. So they are first class and second class, and I will tell you. First, I will deal with the judicial magistrate in the city of Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and Ahmedabad, whereas their powers are under section 29. They cannot give sentence more than 7 years. They can try offences. Now, section 409 IPC, a breach of trust by a manager, a servant, or an agent is triable life imprisonment. But the punishment the metropolitan magistrate can award maximum is 7 years, section 29(1) CRPC. Please note that these are the powers, very important. Then the magistrate of the first class in Thane, Kalyan, Pune district, judicial magistrate first class, he cannot award sentence more than 3 years and a fine exceeding 10,000 rupees. Okay. Then under 29(3), the judicial magistrate second class, and he cannot award sentence more than 1 year and fine not exceeding 5,000. He cannot exceed 5,000. So the jurisdiction of the court is very important here. Please note that the court of metropolitan magistrates have power. They are a chief judicial magistrate and additional chief magistrate. So please remember, these are the hierarchy of the courts and their jurisdiction. Okay, in the city of Bombay. In the city of Bombay, and whereas in places like districts, district like Kalyan, Thane, and everywhere, of course, various states have different judges known as here. So they have judicial magistrate first class, judicial magistrate second class. Then we also have executive magistrate. Please note that here, under the provisions of the scheme of the Act, there are executive magistrate. Section 20 speaks of executive magistrate and district magistrate. In the city of Bombay, who is the district magistrate? Anyone knows? The collector of Bombay is the district magistrate. Please note that the collector of Bombay, who is an IAS officer, they act as a executive magistrate, and they normally try matters such as under section 107 breach of peace, 107, 110 for giving a bond, 133 nuisance is committed. Injunction can be granted by the executive magistrate. Under the CRP, it is not only the function of a civil judge under the scheme of CPC and Specific Relief Act to grant injunction. Even the magistrate under section 133 CRPC can grant injunction to abate the nuisance. Then proceedings under section 144, that 145, assembly of more than 5 and 10 people. You have seen recent orders. They cannot be accumulated. The district magistrate passes orders during election time, commotion taking place. So many persons, more than 5% cannot assemble in the matter. So these are orders passed by the district magistrate collector. Then the breach of peace take place with regard to land and water. It's a parallel matter to that of a civil case. Somebody is sought to be dispossessed. The complainant says that the accused person, who is my neighbor, is trying to encroach upon my land. He is dispossessing me. I had gone to my native place. He broke open my lock and he has entered it, and he has stolen my water tap, so and so. So the proceedings can lie before the magistrate. In the city of Mumbai, the district magistrate, of course, district magistrate, section 140 has been 145 has been amended in the city of Bombay to be metropolitan magistrate, elsewhere district magistrate. So this is a very interesting proceeding. I will discuss with you section 145, 146, 147, where the magistrate has power to pass injunction order, where the magistrate has power to appoint a court receiver, and he has the right to stay the proceedings and attachment of the proceeding. And these are the unique orders which the magistrate passes here. And the other executive magistrate, for example, the city of Bombay, the commissioner of police and the assistant police of commissioner, they act as the executive magistrates. They don't have judicial powers, they have quasi-judicial powers. They can they can give bonds to you, they can give release to you. Of course, Evidence Act cannot be, under the Evidence Act, they are not a court, they are not a court of law who can record evidence. But whereas a court of sessions, the court of judicial magistrate first class, a court of judicial magistrate second class, and in the city of Bombay, the metropolitan magistrate, they are known as a judicial magistrate. And courts within the meaning of the Evidence Act. Section 1 of the Evidence Act tells you only the civil courts and the magistrates, judicial magistrate, can record evidence. And even the arbitrators under the Arbitration Act are not courts, they are quasi-judicial officers. So the provisions of Evidence Act are not strictly applicable. So similarly, before the executive magistrate, Evidence Act is not applicable. They do not have power to sifting of the evidence, they cannot do that here. So these are the various courts under this scheme of the CRPC. For this, you will have to bear in mind the provisions of section 6 se lekar chapter 3, please. Section 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 is giving classification of the criminal courts. 9 is exclusively dealing with the court of session. And 11 is dealing with judicial magistrate. And then 12 is dealing with judicial magistrate, additional judicial magistrate. 13 is dealing with the special judicial magistrate. There are special judicial magistrate. You will come to know that when you have committed offenses under the Bombay Prohibition Act or under the Motor Vehicle Act, सुबह में 8:30 के अंदर आप जाइए किला कोर्ट के अंदर, there are judges sitting giving you, then they are normally known as Annadi courts, where they give you guna kabul hai, nahi kabul hai. They keep on imposing fine upon you, and they try cases in a summary manner and dispose it of. So various hierarchy of courts are given under the scheme of the CRPC, which is a very notable feature. Whereas unfortunately, under the Code of Civil Procedure, which is also a procedural law, the various civil courts are not defined. Please note that. Section 9 tells you the jurisdiction of a civil court, but it doesn't tell you what are the various courts. Because since I told you the courts and as procedural law is a subject of the state falling under the concurrent list, each state is having their different court. So the state of Maharashtra is concerned, you must remember the Bombay Civil Courts Act, the old Act of 1869, now it has been renamed as Maharashtra Civil Court Act. Under the Civil Courts Act, there are the highest court is a district court. Then the second court in the hierarchy is a civil judge senior division. Then the third court in hierarchy is a civil judge junior division. See that here? So because separately you have to read this when you are reading the Code of Civil Procedure. Then there is a separate act called Provincial Small Causes Court Act. Provincial Small Causes Court. These all the mufassil areas are concerned. The district judge has a unlimited jurisdiction, and the civil judge senior division now, as of now, also according to me has unlimited jurisdiction, whereas the civil judge junior division has jurisdiction up to 5 lakhs. 5 lakhs, whereas under the Provincial Small Causes Court Act, the jurisdiction is a little less than something about 12,500. Now let us come to the city of Mumbai. In the city of Mumbai, you have got the civil courts. For example, starting from the highest level, I will come here under the High Courts Act, that is the High Court of Judicature at Bombay. Supreme Court, you know that here under Article 131, exercising original jurisdiction, it exercises jurisdiction and it tries matters between states, two states. For example, Maharashtra and Karnataka have a boundary dispute, and the Tamil Nadu and Karnataka have a dispute with regard to water. Formerly, before the formation of the tribunal, the Article 131. Now, Kerala has filed several cases in the Supreme Court under Article 131, challenging the constitutional validity of CAA and other various acts. You know that. So, Article 131 is the bedrock of the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction. Now, the High Court original jurisdiction, please note that here, in the city of Bombay, the district court, we do not have a separate district court. The Bombay High Court exercising jurisdiction under the OOCJ, bolte isko, ordinary original civil jurisdiction, is the district court. When you see the definition, when you see the definition in the Code of Civil Procedure, please see section 2. आप देखें, I'm sorry, just any one of you can just please open section 2, subclause 4 of the CPC. Ashish, यहाँ देखिए. District means the local limits of the jurisdiction of a principal civil court of the original jurisdiction, hereafter called district court, and include the local limits of ordinary civil jurisdiction of the High Court. So in the city of Bombay, don't confuse that city civil court is not a district court. Small causes court is not a district court. It is the Bombay High Court exercising jurisdiction under OOCJ. Ordinary original civil jurisdiction is a district court. So this power is given to the Bombay High Court under the provisions of clause 12 of the letters patent. Please note that. Easily I told you, by a CPC having letters patent, because when you are letters patent powers are very important, because the chartered High Court like Bombay, the first was the Calcutta High Court, the Madras High Court, and the Bombay High Court. 1861 में the Madras and Calcutta was established. 1862 the Bombay High Court was established. All of you know that prior to the High Court in Bombay, there was a Supreme Court. There was a Supreme Court under the Warren Hastings reforms. All of you know that. There was a Supreme Court in Madras. There was a Supreme Court in Calcutta. Then with the impeachment of the Chief Justice Impey and Warren Hastings, these courts were abolished. Then the High Courts Act, the High Courts came. The High Courts were trying both civil and criminal cases in the metropolitan cities of Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay. So in today we still have the letters patent. Please note that under the provisions of clause 12 of the letters patent, our Bombay High Court derives special jurisdiction to try the matters. Please note that here. Then an appeal would lie under clause 15 of the letters patent to the Bombay High Court from the single judge to the division bench in the High Court. The entire provisions of the CPC are not applicable to the High Court. Please note that there's a section 120, 120B मिलेगा आपको CPC के अंदर. The High Court formulates its own rules. The High Court has its own system of working in the city of Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. But in case there is inconsistency, the High Court rules will prevail. So in the High Court, we have got original side High Court rules, then also the appellate side rules. They both cover the rules with regard to civil cases. They cover rules with regard to constitutional cases, writ cases, and they cover cases to criminal cases. Please note that here. So you should also have a copy because on the net it's available. So you should remember along with the letters patent, you must remember the Bombay High Court rules, original side rules, appellate side rules along with the letters patent. So in the city of Bombay, as on today, the original side of the High Court exercises jurisdiction. All litigation in pecuniary jurisdiction, it is called above 1 crore, and above. Because we have in the state of Maharashtra a pecuniary enhancement of pecuniary jurisdiction of the year 1977, where this pecuniary jurisdiction was challenged before the Supreme Court by P.N. Gasdar. Gentleman is Gasdar's case. If you can, Jamshed Gasdar versus State of Maharashtra. Ashish or Gitanshu, can you just take out this judgment of Jamshed Gasdar versus State of Maharashtra? This judgment dated 11th of January 2003. So you all should know this. This is with regard to jurisdiction of the cases in the city of Bombay with regard to pecuniary. I won't be wasting time dealing with this. It's a four-bench judgment of the Supreme Court where judgment delivered by our Justice Shivraj Patil. It's a very beautiful judgment dealing with the constitutional validity of the pecuniary jurisdiction. Then the High Court Bombay, as I told you, that is by pursuant to the provisions of OCJ, we have got, under the Indian Succession Act, when a will is made by your grandfather or father, a will has to be probated. So the Succession Act tells you that the will has to be probated before a district judge. So in the city like Calcutta, in Kalyan, Pune, Thane, you go to the district judge. But in the city of Bombay, you have to come to the High Court, not to the city civil court. Because the High Court OCJ is a district judge. So that is even for the purpose of arbitration, under the Arbitration Conciliation Act, Section 2 and the E says that here court means the court has power to pass interim orders before the commencement and after the commencement of the arbitration. It is only the High Court in the city of Bombay. But elsewhere is a district court where in Kalyan, Thane, there's a special district court. That court is also there for the purpose of Section 42 of the Arbitration Act. So the another cases, we have the cases which are tried by the High Court Bombay in the original side are admiralty jurisdiction. The city like Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay, they have the special admiralty jurisdiction relating to marine matters, where your ship, your consignment has been sent by you by ship from Mumbai to Dubai, foreign country, USA. The ship has not delivered your articles, or the ship has sunk, whatever reason. So admiralty jurisdiction, you can file a suit directly in the Bombay High Court, Calcutta High Court, and Madras High Court Under that they have a power to ex parte arrest the ship. This is coming under the original jurisdiction. Then, so the earlier jurisdiction which I told you was the High Court exercising a testamentary jurisdiction that is coming under the provisions of the Indian Succession Act. Then the High Court is also exercising the jurisdiction under the provisions of under the matrimonial jurisdiction of the Parsis. For the all other matrimonial jurisdiction has been now transferred to the family court. Please note that. But in cases of the Parsis, there is still we are following the old British system where the jury system is there. Is it the jury system came to be abolished in India after the Nanavati trial case? All of you know that in the year 1970-72, where Nanavati was convicted and subsequently he was allowed to be scared off by the governor of Walakbad. So the trial was abolished by jury system because it was being misused, and most of the Indians are not highly educated, and such people go and give their verdict. That is how it is not acceptable. But Parsi community, it is still there, and that is why we have a trial of Parsi matrimonial suits in the city of Bombay in the virginal side. Then all arbitration suits under Section 9 in the city of Bombay, they go to the High Court Bombay, virginal site in the Bombay. And under the CRPC, under Section 9, Section 66, I told you that here, a confiscation of the books on the ground that it is prejudicial to a particular community. It is going to promote enmity among the community, and it is seditious, and the government of this concerned state government or the central government have a right to forfeit these particular books. As I gave you example, directly come in the criminal jurisdiction. So there are civil cases also. The High Court tries summary suits under the provisions of Order 37 of the Code of Civil Procedure. Normally, civil courts trials take place by leading evidence, where pleadings are completed, plain written statement, framing of the issues, and leading evidence, examination, cross-examination. But whereas in the case of a summary trial, you don't lead evidence. On the basis of the document, the court is satisfied that the plaintiff has proved the case, such as check bouncing cases, admitted claim cases, bill of exchange cases. So these cases, all cases falling within the ambit of Order 37, they come before the High Court Bombay, where the amount is more than ₹1 crore here. Okay, then all matters under the Specific Relief Act above 1 crore, they come to the High Court. But a landlord and tenant disputes, they do not come to the High Court. They go to the Court of Small Causes Court under the provisions of the Maharashtra Rent Control Act and the provisions of the Presidency Small Cause Court Act 1882. So these are two jurisdictions where the Small Causes Court has exclusive jurisdiction under the rent control legislation, where the Rent Act is applicable under Section 33. All matters, including matters between the landlord and tenant for recovery of their premises, for declaration on relief sought or connected matters, they come under Section 33 of the Maharashtra Rent Control. Sky is the limit, unlimited jurisdiction. Now, wherever under the Rent Act, landlord and tenant under the Transfer of Property Act, Section 105, 106 is involved of the Transfer of Property Act. When parties are not protected, for example, the banks are not protected under the Rent Control Act, the open land is not protected under the Rent Control Act, then company having a share capital of more than ₹1 crore is not protected under the Rent Control Act, though they may be lessees, they may be tenant. Such relationships are governed under the TP Act. A termination notice is followed under 106, and proceedings are filed under Section 41 of the Presidency Small Causes Court Act. That is the exclusive jurisdiction. Okay, then you have the Small Causes Court exercising pecuniary jurisdiction. For example, commercial jurisdiction only formally up to 10,000 till 2021. 221 may, after following the judgment of the Supreme Court in Gasdar's case, the amount has been enhanced to 25,000 now. Honorary. But whereas in respect of matters under the Rent Control Act, unlimited jurisdiction is given to the small causes court. Okay, but when it comes to pecuniary jurisdiction, loan given by you, suppose I gave you a check, my check has been bounced, which is up to 10,000 or 25,000. You have to go to the small causes court for filing a suit. If the amount is up to 1 crore, the City Civil Court, Bombay. Above 1 crore, you have to go to the Bombay High Court over CJ. Okay, this is the jurisdiction in the civil cases. Then apart from the civil courts and the criminal courts, in the city of Bombay, you have got various tribunals. Now, you have heard the consumer court is not actually a court, it's a tribunal. It has all the trappings of a civil court. It doesn't record evidence like the way it is done in the city civil court, small causes court, or Bombay High Court original site. It's a tribunal which decides the matters. Then you have motor accident tribunal under the Motor Vehicle Act. It's a tribunal. VT के पास आपके पास देखिए both consumer court is there, a state consumer court, as well as the motor accident tribunal. It's a tribunal, has a trapping of the court. It's a type. Then you have a DRT, debt recovery tribunal. In the city of Bombay, all cases against the banks and institution more than 10 lakh, about up to 10 lakh you can file in the Bombay High Court. Then thereafter about 10 lakh, you have to go to the DRT tribunal, a special court which is trying matters. Then matters relating to the services of central government employees and the management, you have a central administrative court. Is it a CAT it is called? Then with regard to the state government, you have got a MAT, Maharashtra Administrative Tribunal, which is situated at behind Sachivalaya, and another is at New Bombay. So these are all various tribunals. Then the labor courts, the labor courts are again tribunals, isn't it, under the Industrial Dispute Act, under the various labor welfare legislation. So they are all courts which are set up both at Tardeo ke andar jayenge labor courts are there, at Bandra administrative building mein. There are lots of courts situated there. So these are the various courts trying matters in the city of Bombay. This is the hierarchy of the court. So from all these legislation, now in all the civil cases legislation, there are penal provisions. The penal provision, even under the Companies Act, the Companies Matter formerly used to go to the High Court. Now they have been transferred to the Company Law Board, isn't it? See, now their tribunal is set up both everywhere in the city of Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and Delhi, isn't it? That is how formerly the city of Bombay, the matters of insolvency were tried in the city of Bombay under the Presidency Insolvency Act, and in district court under the provincials. Now it has been shifted to the tribunals. You know that here you should know that the specialization is taking place in many walks of life here. So in various provision under the Companies Act, under the DRT Act, and under the rent control legislation, and apart from the Indian Penal Code, these legislation contain criminal legislation, provision for convicting a person for committing the offenses. If the landlord is not issuing a rent receipt, you can prosecute him in a criminal court. If the director has misappropriated the amount and not given the details and particulars and the prospectus, you can prosecute him in the man. Similarly, a man committing offenses under the under the contract, you can go for forgery, breach of trust, prosecution. So all these matters are tried before the magistrates under the CRPC. Now the jurisdiction of the magistrate is very important under the CRPC. That for that purpose you should remember section 190. 190 college of section 190. Section 190 खोलेंगे यहाँ पे, you will find the jurisdiction of the magistrate, which is very important provision. The cognizance of offences by magistrate. So under the scheme of the criminal law, under the CRPC, the magistrate is supposed to be enjoying original jurisdiction. Please note that Mean directly a case is filed. What is the first step when an offense is committed? An FIR is lodged. The first attempt, a criminal law is set into motion by filing a document known as FIR, First Information Report, which is under section 154. Please note that, to a police officer. FIR, the police officer will take cognizance, mean he will look into the matter provided the offense is disclosing cognizable offense. He can exercise the power of arrest under section 41 provided the offense is disclosing a cognizable offense. Now, what is a cognizable offense is defined under section 2C. See, cognizable offense mean offense where the police officer, in accordance with the first schedule, may arrest without warrant. So, a murder has taken place in your locality. When a murder has taken place, any person who has seen the offense can be informer. So that informer, the neighbor can be informer. The spectator who has seen can be informer. Some family friend, some family member can be an informer. Unlike the civil law, where the litigation can be commenced only by agreed party, under the scheme of the criminal law, a criminal litigation can be commenced by any Tom, Dick and Harry, barring certain exceptions which I will come to know. It can be commenced by anybody. Even a magistrate sees himself an offense is committed, he can be a complainant. So that is how, when I say that under section 190, the cognizance is taken by the magistrate, number one, upon receiving a complaint of fact constituting the offense. See that here? 191 ke andar, receiving a complaint of fact constituting offense. Now, this will be basically, the first one is falling within the ambit of, I would call it a private complaint, which I will deal with you. A private complaint where the police officer has not taken cognizance of your FIR. Just because a police officer has not taken cognizance doesn't mean that you have no remedy. Your remedy is to file a private complaint under section 200, I'll come to know. Now, the second circumstances where the magistrate can take cognizance is upon receiving a police report of the fact. See that 190 subclause B. See, jurisdiction commences here. Upon receiving a police report is filed under section 173 CRPC after completion of the investigation. A police report is also called, in city of Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, here, charge sheet. So when a charge sheet is filed, how charge sheet is filed? Charge sheet file करने के लिए, number one, first information report must have been filed under 154. Under 154, just please open section 154. Yeah, 154 under the scheme here, information to the police officer, it is mandatory that the police officer must register FIR. Now, you must remember that here, it is the statutory duty on the part of a police officer. If he does not register, the police officer is committing an offense. Now, the leading judgment of the Supreme Court on the point, the police officer must register FIR is Dalita Kumari versus State of UP. Kindly open it up here. It's a constitution bench judgment. You all should remember it. Lalita Kumari versus State of UP. Ashish, anybody can open it? It's a leading judgment. Please remember it. It's a 5-bench judgment. I will discuss it at the appropriate time. Lalita Kumari versus State of UP. Remember it here. Are you able to open it, Ashish? It is 2005, if I am not mistaken, of the Supreme Court judgment. Lalita Kumari versus State of UP. Open हो रहा है? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Audible? Can you open that Lalita Kumari's judgment?
Yes. I'll try, sir, but I don't think I have the...
No problem. Student, just make a note of it. Will next lecture, I can request Kumar.
Yes, Kumar is doing it, sir.
Yes, that is the leading judgment. You must remember it here. It is mandatory. When the police officer has refused to register FIR, not taken cognizance, then under section 154 subclause 3, you have a right to go to the senior most officer to lodge a complaint. First option is go to the station officer under 154(1). Then one that is copy he has to give it, verbatim record a give a copy. Then 153, 154 subclause 3 says that here the senior officer can be approached. Now this 154(1) and 153(e) also came up. I will tell you, for discussion before the Supreme Court in a judgment in 2012, I think, if I am not mistaken, that is which is the famous judgment with the famous actress who won the I forget her name. Again, State of UP versus you remember it, Ashish? I had given to you all.
Sir, Kangana Ranaut?
No. उससे पहले the lady who won, who is married a foreigner now, always appearing.
Taapsee Pannu?
No, Baba. The actress who won the Beauty Queen Award. What is the name?
Preeti Zinta, Aishwarya Rai.
No. Aishwarya Rai के बाद कौन?
Priyanka Chopra, Juhi Chawla.
Yes, Priyanka Chopra. So Priyanka versus State of UP is the judgment, but she was not a party. Some lady having a similar name. Priyanka's judgment is also there. You will find it here of the Supreme Court, which dealt with the interpretation of section 154, 154(3). When I propose the police officers, both the station officer and the senior officers have not registered your FIR, then your remedy is to go before the magistrate under 190 and request the court to take cognizance. See that here? You can directly go to the magistrate that the police officer has failed to take cognizance of my complaint, that your honor may kindly direct the police to start investigation under section 156(3) CRPC. So this complaint will be filed in the provisions of 190 read with section 200. Please see section 200 खोल लीजिए यहाँ पे. So here, are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You're
Section,
audible.
when the police officer has not taken cognizance of, not register FIR, you are not remediless. You can go to the learned magistrate pointing out the fact that I lodge a first information report under section 154. The offense was cognizable. He has not bothered to register FIR and turn a Nelson's eye. I am helpless. I have no other alternative. Then I went to the senior officer, the commissioner, the assistant commissioner of police, to requesting him placing my grievance on record, and I have not heard him. 15 days have elapsed. The matter is of a serious nature. Maybe some serious offenses committed. It may be robbery, it may be theft, it may be an offense of murder, it may be a rape, it may be something, a serious cognizable offense, or even non-cognizable offense. You can go to the magistrate under 155. So the procedure is file a complaint under section 190, read with section 200. Here the procedure is here, the learned magistrate, it is unlike a civil cases, he will be examining the complainant. See, examination of complainant is mandatory now, verification. इसको बोलते हैं verification statement. Whereas in civil cases, you lodge a plaint under the provisions of Order 7 of the CPC read with Order 6 and send a verification. The court office, the High Court, City Civil, Bombay High Court, they will issue summons directly. But magistrate court, civil criminal cases, it is totally different procedure. The magistrate is not going to accept the complaint on the face of it, because summoning the accused person is a very serious matter. It involves the violation of the fundamental right, a right to privacy, right to breach of fundamental right. The magistrate has to be very careful. He has to be prima facie satisfied the offense is committed or not. For that purpose, in order to come to know what is the offense committed, whether committed or not, he will ask the complainant to step into the box and put him questions, or he will tell him, you give me a verification statement. At this stage, accused will not be in picture. Accused has no right to appear. Even if he has come to know that the case is filed, he cannot make application for intervention. My lord, I would like to be heard, or your honor, I would like to be heard. No such audience at this stage. Please note that. Whereas in the code of civil procedure, if a necessary party is omitted, not joined, the moment you come to know, I am a necessary party, I would like to be heard, under the provisions of Order 1, Rule 10 CPC, you can make an application that I should be heard and no orders be passed. You can file a caveat under section 148K CPC that no interim orders be passed without hearing me first. But in the CRPC scheme, it is not so. So the magistrate will decide whether the complaint is a fit case for issuing a document cause order called process. Process issue करने से पहले the magistrate will, number one, examine the complainant. He will also ask him, do you have any witnesses? Because the list of witnesses is required to be given in the complaint. Please note that section 204 CRPC mandates that list of witnesses to be given. 204 subclause 2. No summons or warrant shall be issued against the accused and until the prosecution witnesses are being filed. So there are many times the high courts have quashed proceedings under 482 for not filing list of witnesses. So when you are drafting a criminal complaint, please see to it that the list of witnesses is given. Like under the scheme of the CPC, when you are filing a plaint, you must give the list of documents under the provisions of Order 7, Rule 14. And in the written statement under Order 8, Rule 1, list of documents are not given. Subsequently, you are not permitted to rely upon those documents at this stage of a trial. You will be told that here you are not given, the other side cannot be taken by surprise because you are not furnished a document. You are not followed the principles of audi alteram partem, or the principles of natural justice demand that the copies must be served in advance to the accused person or the defendant. So you must disclosure here. Yahan pe the magistrate will take safeguard here. Number one, the complaint which has been filed discloses the commission of a cognizable offense. Maybe an offense under the provisions of section 406, 409 Indian Penal Code. A breach of trust. A cheating under section 420. What are the representation given by the accused which compel the complainant to act upon it, whether he believed the same to be true or false, whether the accused knew that they were false on the inception. An inducement taken place, the act was modified or bona fide. So the magistrate who are experienced judicial officers, they come to know about it. So the magistrate has various options before issuing a process. He may say that I will hold an inquiry under 202. Inquiry can be held by magistrate to another subordinate magistrate. Magistrate himself hold inquiry. Normally, inquiries are not held by police. Police officers are directed to hold investigation. Sometimes even persons other than, even private persons are given charge of investigation under the scheme of the CRPC. I will tell you that here. See, when you see the definition of investigation is very interesting. Just I will read it for you. Definition of investigation. चेक कर लीजिए आप. Section 2 in H check कीजिए in the Bail Act. Investigation includes all proceedings under this court for the collection of the evidence conducted by the police officer or by any person. Please underline this word. It is not only the police officer conducted or any other person other than the magistrate who is authorized by magistrate in this behalf. That means the magistrate does not conduct investigation. It is the police officer who does it or any other person. It may be a private person who may have been directed, authorized by the magistrate to do. Now let us see what does the magistrate do. Inquiry. Section 2I pe aa jaiye. 2G pe, I'm sorry, of the CRPC. Inquiry means every inquiry other than a trial conducted under this code by a magistrate or a court. See, power with regard to inquiry are not delegated to police officer. They are not delegated to private person. It is only delegated, conducted by the magistrate himself or a court. It may be given to a civil court, civil judge senior division, civil judge junior division, a municipal court in the locality. An order is sought under section 144, 145 CRPC with regard to breach of peace. The magistrate may hold inquiry. Okay, then see the inquiry provisions you come to know under section 202 के ऊपर आ जाएगी. check कीजिए. Any magistrate on receipt of a complaint of an offence which is authorized to take cognizance or which has been made over to him under 192 may he thinks fit, he shall, in case where the accused residing at a place beyond the area in which he is exercising jurisdiction, postpone the issue of process against the accused and either inquire into the case himself. See, inquiry. अभी पढ़े आपने section 2G के अंदर So he himself will do the inquiry, or direct investigation to be made. Or direct investigation to be made. Sorry, just falling it here. My here is investigation to be made by a police officer or by such other person as he think fit for the purpose of deciding whether or not there is a sufficient ground for proceeding. So there are three courses open. Number one, under 200 के अंदर the magistrate taking cognizance, he will record the evidence of a person. He will say examine on oath. Section 200 में check करो आप. He will examine him on oath the complainant and the witnesses present, if any of the substance produced into, and shall be signed by the complainant. That is the first course of action. He will not immediately say issue notice like a civil judge does it here. The first option is he will examine the complainant and he will say where are the witnesses. When you file a complaint, you should not go alone to the magistrate on the very first day. You must take the witnesses along. If you don't take it, the magistrate will give either a long date or he will dismiss your case. And you need not take the witnesses in the court. And if you are asking the magistrate to only issue an order of investigation, that will be under section 156(3). Open कीजिए 156(3). See, the order of investigation under 202 includes an investigation order. Your prayer should be that this honorable court be pleased to direct the Colaba police station to investigate the matter. Now read 156. Police officers' power to investigate cognizable cases. Any officer in charge of a police station may, without the order of a magistrate, investigate any cognizable case which a court having jurisdiction over the local area within the limits of such station would have power to inquire into or try under the provisions of chapter 13. So the police officer under the scheme, under the first limb, he does not require the permission of the magistrate if the case is cognizable offense, a murder case, a robbery, a rape case. He doesn't require permission. Then number two, no proceedings of a police officer, a case shall at any stage be called in question on the ground that the case was not within such was not empowered to. So here the police officer is insulated because he should not be hampered, obstructed by unnecessary litigation at this stage. Number three, any magistrate empowered under 190 may order such investigation as mentioned. So this is the power under 153 is passed by the magistrate taking recourse to the provisions of section 190 and section 202. Please mind that, mind in mind. This is in a private complaint. You are requesting the honorable magistrate, my lord, I had lodged a first information report to the police officer. He did not take cognizance for reason best known to him. Then I went to the senior DIG or a commissioner of police. He also did not take action. I had no other option now. There is a tendency in Bombay, Calcutta, Madras High Court. When police officers don't take action, people go to the High Court under Article 226, 227 and 482. That the Supreme Court has depreciated this practice. You cannot approach the High Court directly for issuing a writ petition, writ order, a writ of mandamus, when there is an alternate remedy available to you under the CRPC. The alternate remedy is under section 190, read with section 200. So you invoke this. So the order under 156 के लिए, you, along with the complaint, in the verification, you pray that this honorable court be pleased to direct investigation order under section 156(3) CRPC. Such order is normally passed without examination of the accused in Bombay City and without examination of the witnesses. Examination is done of the complainant and the witnesses directly the magistrate. If satisfied, he will issue process under the provisions of section 204. If he is satisfied, the case is made out, or he will dismiss the complaint without even calling the accused under 203 if no case is made out. A very wide discretion is given to a judicial magistrate. Please note that only judicial magistrate in the city of Bombay, the metropolitan magistrate, exercise these powers. In the city, in the places like remote areas or smaller cities like Kalyan, Thane, Pune, the judicial magistrate, first class or second class, depending upon the nature of power, they issue such orders. समझे ना आप? So that is called the complaints to the magistrate, which is the starting point where the cognizance is taken. Now you are taken out. You will be surprised why under the provisions of the CRPC, the accused, even if it's a murder case, even if it's a murder case or rape case, why the matter first go to the magistrate? You know that here? Under section 56, no sooner a complaint is, FIR is lodged under 154, then the second step is the police officer arresting the magistrate. If he is satisfied that there is a case is made out of a cognizable case, maybe of a rape case or a murder case or robbery, the police officer will invoke his power under section 41. Please open section 41. That is the second step. Under the first, the civic criminal law is set into motion by lodging FIR first under 154. The second step is section 41. 41 खोलिए आप. When police officer may arrest without warrant. This is the second step. Because CRPC, if you read section wise, you will not understand. If you read chapter wise, you will not understand. I am teaching you in a sequence of order, in an order of chronology, as the CRPC is put into practice in a court of law. Okay, that is the advantage you are having when you have a teacher who is practicing in the court. So you can take advantage of my practice here. That is why I am going in a sequence of order. I am not teaching you section wise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. आप समझ नहीं पाएंगे. So the first step is a criminal law is set into motion by lodging FIR. A civil law is set into motion by lodging a plaint under the provisions of Order 4, Rule 1 CPC and read with section Order 7 of the Code of Civil Procedure and section 26. That your CPC professor will teach you, and on, because since I also taught CPC and practice in both, I can give you the best of both the worlds here. So remember that here, the moment FIR is lodged, next step is section 41 will come into play. Police officer can arrest a person when serious offenses are there, he must immediately arrest. When non-serious family dispute, matrimonial dispute, he should not arrest without giving notice. Section 41A check करो आप. Notice for appearance. इसीलिए दलिता कुमारी judgment पढ़े आप. ललिता कुमारी versus State of UP. The Supreme Court has given laid down guidelines. When the police officer can quickly arrest without notice, and when he should give notice. 41A, commercial transaction, family transaction under the Negotiable Instrument Act, where the police officer is not sure about the offense, it is preferably he must give a notice under section 41A, which was brought on a statute book with effect from 2nd November 2010. Prior to 2010, the police officer has sweeping powers. File करती है, arrest कर देगा. Now the powers are curtailed. Now the provisions of section 41, 154, 41A are interpreted by the Supreme Court beautifully in a nutshell, giving guidelines in Lalita Kumari versus State of UP. Next time I will discuss this judgment. Please get it. So the moment arrest is effected, what is the next step here? Arrest होने के बाद, the next section come into play is section 56. Arrested person to be taken before a magistrate or officer in charge of a police station. Okay. And 57, he cannot be arrested and detained by the police officer for more than 24 hours. आप पढ़ें ये section 57, please, important. This is analogous to Article 22 of the Constitution of India. Under Article 22, you know the fundamental right of the accused. No person who is arrested can be detained for more than 20. The police officer is required to complete investigation within 24 hours. And if he cannot complete the investigation, he must produce the accused person within 24 hours, excluding the time for travel. Suppose if he is in Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, and the offense is committed in Bangalore, so time, train ka ya plane ka, that is excluded. No sooner the various offenses, bahar se aate hain log. Other UP police is coming and arresting people in Mumbai. Police is coming from Bihar. In Sushant Singh murder case, the police came from Bihar, isn't it? The complaints were lodged there. So in the wake of several complaints, several FIRs from various walks of life, and of course the accused person, the actress who was involved, she has to rush to the High Court and Supreme Court for consolidation of the FIRs. Like Baba Ramdev has now recently approached the Supreme Court that all the FIRs may be consolidated. So that is only the because the High Court has jurisdiction only within the state level. The High Court will not be stopping the investigation in other states. It is only the Supreme Court of India, under the provisions of section 406 CRPC and on Article 139A, it has power to transfer the cases to itself or to any other transfer one place. So you know that here. So no sooner the accused is arrested, he is brought before the magistrate in pursuance of the mandate under section 57 CRPC, read with Article 22 of the Constitution. Please recapitulate what is your Article 22 of the Constitution of India says. Now that here, I will read for your information. No person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed, as soon as may be of the grounds for which arrest, nor shall be denied the right to consult and to be defended by practitioner of his choice. That is the first choice. Number two, every person arrested be detained shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours. Such arrest including necessary on the journey so and so. This, you know that this was enacted by the Parliament after the famous Gopalan's matter where he was arrested under the Anti-Corruption Act here. Now, under the Preventive Detention Act, you know that here the right of bail is taken away. Now, we are dealing with CRPC and IPC cases, but preventive detention baad dekha jayega. So, Article 22 mandate, the police officer must give the grounds to the person. What is he arrested for? He must inform the family members. He must give the grounds, and he must even tell the accused person he has a right of bail. See that here? It's a beautifully couch sections under the CRPC. Protection is completely granted with a view to safeguard the fundamental right of the accused so that the overzealous police officer does not take advantage. Now, when and how does the police officer bring it? Naturally, within 24 hours, he cannot complete the investigation. Then the next step is to bring the accused person before the magistrate, isn't it? Then please see the provisions of section 167 CRPC. Within 24, what is the time now? आशीष, टाइम कितना हो गया? कुमार, hello, hello.
8. It's 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Shall we take a small break and shall
Yes,
we
sir. Yes.
small break?
Sir,
We'll have a
हाँ
cup
जी.
of 5
Yes,
10
sir.
minutes
Yes, sir.
बाद आते हैं. Second
Yes,
lecture
sir.
बाद करनी. Okay?
Yes, sir. One quick question, sir.
Yes.
Sir, how come the Central Excise Act has center as the word, sir, in the Central Excise Act, 1944, sir?
But not in the Constitution of India. You see the entire Constitution.
Yes, sir. Because sir, that was made before the Constitution of India, sir.
Because under the Government of India Act of 1935, it was the central government. I told you,
Yes,
na?
sir.
Government of
Yes,
India
sir.
Act of 1935, check कीजिए आप, and
Yes,
the,
sir.
the General Clauses Act of 1857, check. I will come to that. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's a very relevant question you asked me. So we'll come back after 5-10 minutes. Okay. Hope so far you people have understood the scheme of the CPC and CRPC. Okay. So I will take up the remand procedure and what is that, the bail procedure.